All right. And we are now on. We are on. This is episode 37. 37 of El Palco de Honor. It is December 20th, Monday. It is the final episode of 2021 for Executive Madridismo, and it is a honor and a privilege to have my dear friend Cesar Orozco, Peña, Madridista, San Francisco Bay Area VP. Cesar, how are you, buddy?
Oh, Chris, it's what an honor to be here. The last of the year, I feel like it feels amazing to know that you always count with us and with my participation. It's humble. It's a humbling honor. Thank you so much for always keeping me in your thoughts and whenever there's an opportunity, bringing me on board. Thank you to everybody that's watching us now, and then we'll be able to catch us a little bit later at another time. Welcome everybody. We have a great episode today.
Yeah, we got a lot to discuss, absolutely. But before we get into that, this channel began last May. When the pandemic first began of COVID-19, and here we are, full year in. On top of the months from 2020, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. We've had so many friends on, so many that are from this country, from other countries. Either they're from Peñas or they're from the media or they're with Real Madrid, and there'll be plenty more coming very soon. 2022 will be a skyrocketing year for Executive Madridismo. I mean, I really promise everyone it's going to be an amazing year coming up. So closing it out the best way possible. Obviously, one of my dearest friends. Never met in person. Haven't met in person yet.
At this point, I want to see how long we can keep it going. If I know you're going to be in San Francisco or I'm going to be in LA, I'm going to do what I can to avoid you, Chris.
We're in the two cities that are the most locked down in the country, of course. Yeah.
Too much. I mean, it's been really difficult. But you know what? This is why Executive Madridismo was created, to stay in contact, to connect, to share our Madridismo and our passion, and call it knowledge if you want. Whatever little bit that we all feel in here, we're sharing that with you guys. And as much as I've just haven't had the chance to just catch you at the same event, Chris, it's I mean, we're always here, we're always in touch. It's knowing that we hold each other so dearly, and our friendship has just grown so much ever since we just got in touch so much more. And what else could I ask for? I once again, I'm humbled and I'm honored. It's always awesome to be here with you.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to count our blessings. I mean, obviously for health, number one, more important than ever. There are a lot of people that are struggling at the moment, that have in the past and are currently struggling, and we hope that they recover. I've had a couple of scares that have hit very close to home, but it's we have to get through this. We have to get through this as a people.
We have to be strong.
Yes, we absolutely have to be strong. We have to be informed as best as possible. We have to care for others and ourselves. We just have to. This is a marathon. It's a marathon. But yes, you're absolutely correct, Cesar. Executive Madridismo, that was the reason for this. It was during this time where we were not able to see each other in person. We're not able to enjoy Real Madrid at all. If you remember, I mean, there's a short memory lapse, but there were no games. No games at all. I mean, it was pushed back. And you remember those times, those weeks where we didn't have anything, and we were
sad. It was so sad. I felt like it was a modern day dark ages, and it's just like everybody was in disbelief of what was going on. Everybody was afraid of what was going on. And I think, I mean, to this day, a lot of us still are, but I think I feel we are probably a little more educated on the subject matter than at least to what we can tell, compared to a year and a half ago. And we were in a very, very dark period as people, as society, as humanity. We didn't know what was going on. I mean, sports was the one thing that united us, and it started being a helping for us to distract ourselves in many ways. But geez, that time where there was not even that, there was nothing but the same consistent replay on TV. The news didn't even know what to cover. It was absolutely a time that I would love to forget, but also I would love to always remember, so that I know exactly that experience we should never let go of.
Absolutely. And we also needed to point out that we need to be in touch with each other more than before, not in person, but through other means. It's extremely important. And I do emphasize this. I really do. For everyone, friends, family, please, the communication has to be there because so many people are struggling in terms of their decisions, in terms of what to do, what not to do. That communication with loved ones is paramount. It is crucial because you don't know how many people I know that have lost great friendships, great relationships because of this thing, not because of being sick with it or going, it's just us around it, you know, around it. And it's so avoidable. It is.
It
So
is.
I just, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's. I was just following up on your point right there. It's so sad to know that we have lost so much connection with those that were always the closest to us, and not that, not for anything good or anything bad. As far as like the reason why that is I think we all started to respect each other's privacies and each other's. We knew that this is affecting us all in so many different levels. Some very close to home, some exactly at home, and some others simply maybe didn't understand it. And I feel like the boundaries and the bubbles that everybody wanted to keep just got a lot bigger, and everybody kept pushing back. And the uncertainty of not knowing where people stood made it easier for sometimes bigger gaps between friendships and family connections to just continue getting there. And it's time to burst those bubbles and get closer again. We need to.
Yes, we absolutely do, because that's how we are built. We are not built to be in isolation from one another. We are built to be together in different ways. There's obviously, look at what's going on right now, live for the world to see, is that we are exercising a friendship right now through a means, even though there is distance, but we're able to communicate. We're able to enjoy our company. There are different ways to go about it. There's a middle ground. There is a middle ground. As hard as for people to realize, there really is a middle ground here.
Absolutely. But you know what? But we find it, and then we make that connection. You find that middle ground, and you just go at it and never look back. We need to, and things will get better. We just need to just don't let go. Don't let go. Don't give up, and just stay strong.
Yeah. Don't follow that song from what is it? That Disney movie.
Let it go.
Let it go. Don't follow that song.
We don't want that.
No. Don't. Great song, by Adele Dazeem. No. Idina Menzel. Sorry.
Different context. We'll take it in a different context. How about that?
I know. I think she should change her name by now. I'm just kidding. She's a great singer. Great singer. Anyway. Going back to Real Madrid, I know. See, this is exactly what we're talking about. We can go into Disney and come back to Madrid. This is great.
We go in all kinds of different directions. This is the joy of doing it live.
Yeah, exactly. Do it live. We do it live. Hey, before we get into that, so bit of business. So if everyone could please like us, please, on this channel. If you give the thumbs up, hit the notification bell, subscribe on the channel so you can know when we're going to do these live episodes. There are going to be many more live episodes moving forward. This is the way we're going to move forward. So please subscribe, like, drop your comments. We want to hear from you. We want to know how we can make this better for you and for everyone else watching. So, and at the end, Cesar, drop your social media when we get to that point. Okay. So
absolutely.
Right, let's get right into it. We'll get right into it. So I want to get your thoughts really quickly. I've already talked about this in a prior episode with Koki Santoro from Venezuela, but I want to get your thoughts. The Champions League, absolute horrendous moment last week of the draw, where they had multiple errors, and then they had to redraw 2 hours later, and there were different matchups that were selected. And what were your thoughts on what happened there?
I had a paper bag here with the UEFA name over it, and I wish I had it nearby so I could put it back on while I talk about him. But I don't. So anyway, so if somebody has a filter, put a paper bag over my face right now. So I'm discussing this. It was absolutely disgusting. It was disgusting what they did. This is one more reason why the loved or hated idea of the Super League just got 1 inch closer, because they came to prove that, call it on a malicious way, call it on a flat out error by somebody who just simply didn't know better. You are the biggest football organization in Europe. How can you do this? How can you allow this to happen when your organization, when all the clubs in there are questioning authorities, they're some of them are under scrutiny, and then suddenly this happens, and there's an array of matches that, as good as they are, they should not have taken place yet. This problem should not have happened. It's an embarrassment that the UEFA let this happen live. For a second, when this happened, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but I felt like Steve Harvey was the one announcing the teams. And with all due respect to Mr. Steve Harvey, but Jesus, I mean, what else could you say?
I'm sorry.
For everybody that got the joke, kudos to you.
For those that did not get the joke, go find it on YouTube. I'm just going to say that.
Steve Harvey, hashtag, or Miss Universe. That's all you need.
Yeah. Number one, this reiterated my point to not wake up at 3 a.m. LA time to watch a draw, because I like to enjoy my sleep, or come out of a club, but I don't go to clubs at this moment because of the
they're on Mondays anyway.
Well,
it is LA. You know what?
Just on that point, there is a club that I used to go to on Monday nights called Floridita, and that was a Cuban place where they had the salsa, they had all this beautiful Latin music, and it was expert dancers. I mean, and they went on until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Is this Along Came Polly style, like salsa club?
No, not like that.
Not Dirty Dancing, not any of that. You're amazing dancing.
Listen. I saw Lamar Odom there one time when he was playing for the Lakers, okay. and so he was there, and I'm telling you, like they had Johnny Polanco's band was playing. I mean, it was like, Monday nights over there, like you had a rum and Coke in your hand. And by the way, drink responsibly, everyone listening, over 21, please, in the US. Anyway, it like Monday nights were like, that's the spot to go to. I remember this was about, I would say 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that was the spot. And I have a lot of friends in the Cuban community. So they always like, hey, we're going to Floridita. You want to join us? This is like 9:30 on a Monday. 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I gotta go to work tomorrow. I can't do I can't do this.
Yeah, you might catch me in my second snore by 9:30 now, especially with the kids now.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. So 3 a.m. So they had the draw, right? Now I saw the draw. I saw the whole the entirety of the first round, the first draw that should have been, right? While they're doing the draw, you know how they have the screen of all the teams that it could be, right? Yeah. They draw the now. The way they do it is fine. I don't have a problem with the process. I think it's a good process.
It works.
But the problem is they're still relying on software, and it's like it's only 16 teams. I don't mind if you take a couple of minutes for to say, okay, we can only do these teams. Like, take a couple of minutes. You don't have to be done in 5 minutes. I mean, you have to do this correctly. It's not like you're dealing with 100 teams.
Correct.
Like if there's 100 teams, I completely understand why you would need that software. I completely get it, but not 16 teams. I
feel like if you were doing it by hand, you see somebody of a senior person coming in. What I mean by senior is like, a legend from one of the clubs from UEFA or something, come in and like have him do a little chat with someone from the team and just pull out every single one of the 16 balls. I mean, they do it in the Powerball. Why couldn't they do it in the UEFA? It's 16 teams.
I know, right? The Powerball. I don't play Powerball. I
don't give my money to somebody else.
You know what? I cannot. I don't even want to touch that. No, but I do agree. You got to do the process correctly, not only transparent wise, but also do it right. Anyway, so they're announcing the teams. Oh, these teams are the only ones. I'm like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, no, that team can't see that team. They were in the same group. That was Man U and Villarreal. I was like, what are you doing? And they just kept on going and kept on going. I'm like, I don't have hair to pull. I don't have hair.
It's like they're like, oh, well, cat's out of the bag, so just let it go. And I was like, you're too far in. I'm like, no, somebody noticed. Somebody must have noticed.
It's like, who is going to call us out? Who is going to call us out? Is FIFA going to come from their high horse? I mean, I don't think so.
No, and you know what? I think the reason why they're just so let it go and nobody caught it or nobody cared to say something is this complacency. They're complacent on the fact that that software should never have any flaws and would go. Software fails. There's bugs. There's errors. Crap happens. It happens in the highest of levels, and it will happen to my computer tonight if that's the case. It happens everywhere.
Yeah, fine. Now, there should have been, I mean, people should have been fired immediately. And my understanding is that no one got fired, and they're going to continue using the software. I mean, they didn't say, okay. They didn't make an announcement by saying, okay, we are going to make, personnel changes. We're not going to use the software the rest of the way this tournament. We're going to look into it for next season. It'll be up for discussion. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like errors of this magnitude that just hurt the credibility of the organization. You got to have heads to cut off. I'm sorry to say it like that, but there has to be accountability at that level, the ground level that everyone can see. But if you hide behind a statement and redo it, you're just inviting it to happen all over again.
That and not only that, like if you're just telling me that somebody's moved on and transitioned to another role, even if somebody doesn't necessarily leave the organization, we're like, oh, we're transitioning somebody new into this role. This person will now refocus somewhere else. I'm like, okay, at least tell me something. Don't give me all the arsenal I need to come after you and say, I was like, wow, you really didn't care to do anything about it. At least lie to me. It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So, they did the draw initially, and then they did the redraw. And of course, we had Benfica the first time around, and then we get PSG the second time around. Now, what happened afterwards is, naturally, Real Madrid, came out, Butragueño came out in a statement, and he was honest about what transpired and how they saw the situation. Now, what did the media do? The media focused their ire on Real Madrid and said, oh, they're just angry because they got PSG and not Benfica. You know what I'm saying? They weren't focusing on the draw having to happen all over again. And, UEFA, they screwed up this time. It's been a bad year for them. Look at what happened with the Super League. And there was no narrative about how horrible a year was for UEFA, despite having a Euro. And it was a horrible year for UEFA on those two fronts, on the club level I'm talking about. Horrible year for UEFA. So what the media did is they completely ignored that. And they were talking about how, Madrid, now they have to face PSG. This is UEFA getting back. That whole narrative, I mean,
you're missing another key factor that UEFA should be, or the media should be focusing on UEFA. Today, Portugal should be qualified to the World Cup, but instead they're going to go battle it out in the group with Italy to potentially make it, or end up being left alone, all because of a ghost goal that didn't get actually, my bad, it wasn't a ghost goal. It was a real goal that got called back. That is a third infraction that happened.
Oh,
when are you going to fix things, UEFA? When?
Yeah. And so now that's the media's, mistake in what they're doing and covering the situation. Now, the mistake of the Super League teams. Now, where are the 15 clubs coming out all together and saying, you see, this is exactly why we should do our own tournament. We shouldn't leave it to UEFA. They're going to screw things up, but we're going to do things this way, which is correct, which is transparent. They completely blew an opportunity. They blew it.
Yeah, I you know what? I believe I was talking with Nacho from Peña Providence. So hello, Nacho. And I mentioned that in our episodes that we do on Wednesdays on Real Madrid Extra at RM Extra, and we were discussing this, and I'm like, why didn't anybody else care to at least say, "Told you guys, just raise your hand. You didn't even need to twist a knife. Just poke at it a little bit," because the only ones that were vocal were the same 2 or 3 that are still in it. Everybody else feels like they all just got a slap on the wrist and said, "Don't do it again," and now all the clubs are quiet. That right there shows me, I don't want to say a lack of commitment, but I feel like they're definitely afraid of all the consequences that UEFA played out that could happen to all.
I'll say it right now. They're cowards.
Agreed.
Cowards because they backed out of the Super League publicly the way that they did in April, and staying quiet when UEFA screwed up the round of 16 draw twice now.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you're really dead honest about doing this, breaking away and doing your own league, which I'm 100% for with certain conditions, you got to stand firm publicly with everyone. You are better. There's strength in numbers, right? There's strength in numbers. But if you have Madrid being the only one complaining and everyone else being quiet, that feeds exactly to the media's game of like, oh, pinpointing Madrid only, and everyone else is on the same wavelength, and it's just Madrid complaining, and that's
Madrid wanting things their way, Madrid wanting things because they get their special, and that's never going to end. And this is exactly why the narrative of the media was focused on what Butragueño said and what Real Madrid was intending to say. Was like, yeah, we got PSG, fine, so be it. But why are you guys not acknowledging these? And as far as the competitiveness of the teams, there's obviously, I believe, player by player, there's definitely a huge upskill when you compare PSG to Benfica this day. But I also am a firm believer that in order for Real Madrid to go in and lift La Orejona this year, Madrid will have to go through the big teams regardless. And it's just, we're going to get the first one of them in the round of 16. And in many ways, in previous runs of the Champions League, I always want to hear, oh, Real Madrid made the final because they got the 3 easy teams. They got the easy draws each single time. They don't deserve to be in the final. They don't deserve to win it. But you know what? Call it a day. Real Madrid will come in. They'll take on PSG. They'll do what they have to do. They'll take care of business and move on. And with that, they'll reassert themselves as, we are Europe's elite team. We are the best team and the best informed. We're gonna come in, and we just took out, or perhaps one of the favorites. And who is next? Now I want you to be afraid because I took out the team that none of you guys wanted to play.
Well, I mean, I think PSG should be the one that should complain the most. I mean, they should. Well, I mean, they're facing us, and we're playing at a high level, and they're a house of cards with all that talent. They have talent.
You forget who's at the helm of that team and what he represents with the UEFA as well. Well, I don't think you forget. I think you just maybe didn't mention it, but I think that may have something to do as far as the public image that PSG will present.
Look, I'm just looking at the team in general, and with our team, I mean, if you go, I mean, I talked about this in a prior episode, is that if you look at the teams line by line, let's say, side by side, Madrid and PSG, right? Front line, okay, I'll give PSG that, given that, fair enough. But the midfield, Madrid. Defense, Madrid. The manager, Ancelotti is a much better manager than Pochettino.
Absolutely.
Experienced. Okay, I mean, I would put money on Ancelotti before ever even considering Pochettino. All right, so on paper, the media can say whatever they want to say, and that's their business. But if you look at it in terms of history, in terms of values, in terms of experience, in terms of dynamic youth at the moment with the high level that we're playing, I mean, Madrid are a favorite to win Champions League. They always are, but this year they are stronger than most people will realize.
We are the team to be feared, and we should be, because everybody thought we were going to be the house of cards because we lost Ramos and we lost Varane in defense, and we had a Dani Carvajal that had been suffering a severe wave of injuries and was going to miss the first month or so. Mendy seems to not convince anybody outside of Madrid, although I love the freight train that he is running up and down. That defense, Militao started a little weak on the first 2-3 games. I think it was part of the adjustment of, one, you're taking on a brand new world-class defender that is learning your language, first of all, learning your style of play, but God, has he taken over that defense? And I think as Militao and Alaba just continue to solidify that center-back pair that they are absolutely incredible. And it's helping a lot. And one of the things that I love is I see David Alaba running on the wing, even alongside Mendy, and taking those runs, because today the person that has learned to make the sacrifices, Casemiro. I've seen him fight time after time in defense every time Alaba goes up, and I don't see them miss a step. I think today Casemiro has become an incredible defensive midfielder that he already was, and now he's just gone up to an elite level even more. In our midfield, the way Luka Modric is playing, like a 21-year-old, and Toni Kroos, I was afraid after his hip injury. I wasn't sure how he was going to come around. I mean, it's an injury that can be nasty, and it can take players' careers away from them. Toni Kroos has come back to the best of his abilities. That midfield today is the best midfield in the world. by a long shot.
Oh yeah, it's our best midfield in 30 years.
And you're talking about a midfield that already won 4 champions.
And that's not easy to say, by the way, because we have had better great midfields in the past this century, but this midfield is unparalleled. I mean, at 100%, incredible. Okay, incredible. All right. So, I mean, I didn't care that we got PSG. I really did not care because I don't see PSG like everybody else. Unfortunately, it's just I see PSG as a big fish in a small pond. That's what they are. They are. Look, the French league is a disaster. You hear more headlines about violence than about games. Nobody watches their games. It's just. It's about PSG and everybody else. They're trying to trump up PSG as best they can. But, I mean, they're coming from that. I mean, they're not a Bayern Munich.
They're not. I am 10 times more.
I'm sorry.
I'm afraid. I am 10 times more respectful playing against Bayern Munich than I am against PSG. Right. And it's got to do with their players, their coach, their strategy. I completely agree. I still think even though Bayern Munich dominates the Bundesliga, the Bundesliga is much more competitive as a league than the French league can ever hope to be.
Well, I mean, I hear you. I see your point on that. But my point is that they've won the Champions League 6 times. Okay, so they have history winning in Europe. I bank on that than just a team that made a final one time. Okay, I know they're coming up. They're a new school, but they haven't paid their dues yet, and they're doing business the wrong way in my eyes.
Yeah, agreed. I'm not one to believe that you purchase trophies.
Being funded by a foreign government, that's not the way you do business, okay? Because clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona, I'll add Barcelona into this mix, we are clubs that are members-owned associations, and we only spend from the revenue we generate every single year. That's the only way we do it. They can go to their credit card and charge up, and they'll never run out of money. Never. They can run a negative balance for the end of times. And it won't matter.
Still be doing
it won't matter to them, and so I don't think that's fair. I don't think PSG and Manchester City are playing fair at all. Okay?
No, and I think many people saw this when they first took over these teams. They're like, oh, they're buying their. Initially, they started buying their local championships or leagues, and now they're starting to want to scratch at Europe. And even the day will come, because it's not like anybody's going to stop them from doing business the way they're doing. The day will come with one of them. I don't know which one will take it first, but I feel like I'm not going to respect that championship enough because of the way they approach up their business.
Yeah, I mean, if I had my way, I wouldn't even have Manchester City in the Super League. I wouldn't. Not them or PSG. I wouldn't. I would say Man U, yes. Liverpool, yes. Chelsea, yes. No. Redo your finances, and then we'll talk. I'd rather have a Celtic. I'd rather have an Ajax. I'd rather have a Porto in there ahead of them.
Give me teams that have been consistently there, even if it was 30, 40 years ago. I wish there were teams that were still competitive, like Red Star Belgrade and Nottingham Forest, teams that have made and won Champions League in the 70s when the football was just 100% different than it is today. But sadly, these teams are now almost extinct in so many ways. But, had they been able to stay consistent up there, they could be fighting. And I would love to have them call them the small fish in that big pond now. But regardless, they're a team that they earned their dues when football was easy. It was a simpler time back then.
Oh, what would have been great is that the Super League happened, the announcement, and these teams were included. The media would have nothing to say about, oh, these are the richest clubs. We got Nottingham Forest from the 2nd division in here. We got, I don't think so.
And you know what? And it would help them tremendously. Be like the influx of money that would bring from the Super League. So we're like, okay, you're going to start competing. You're going to get up to the Premier League very soon. You're going to end up coming up and fighting in there, because that's where I find that these teams belong.
Okay. I mean, I would love to see that, what you're saying, but we got to pump the brakes a little bit, because we don't know what the management at Nottingham Forest is at the moment. And you start throwing 300, like, for example, the entry into the Super League, when it begins, every team gets 300 million euros. All right. Now, Nottingham Forest management, how are they going to manage that 300 million? I don't know. I don't know. Are they qualified? I don't know.
No, the details they're easy to not acknowledge because I hadn't even considered that side. And you know what? And now that you mentioned that, it's making me think of the show Ted Lasso. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm like, yeah, no, you're totally right. Incredible show, by the way.
Oh yeah, Ted Lasso, and that's something that I wish La Liga did, for promotion's sake. That's one thing. All right, so now to close out with the UCL draw. So we got PSG. We're gonna play them in Paris first, and then Madrid second in March. The game before the first leg is Villarreal in La Ceramica. Now we tied them 0-0 at home, which was a frustrating tie. I mean, it was really frustrating. Now we got to play them on the road. Now, what do you think happens in that game before PSG first leg?
Well, let me put it this way. It's going to put Real Madrid to take that team very seriously. First of all, they're going to want to take the win away because Real Madrid always goes out for it. But I would not be surprised that Madrid comes in semi-conservative against Villarreal. Depending on how La Liga is progressing, Real Madrid, aside from Sevilla, is starting to run away from most of the teams in La Liga. And based on what Sevilla and Barcelona will do tomorrow and how much more Real Madrid will keep going, Real Madrid could be comfortable enough to have a bit of a cushion to know that they don't have to go with a knife in their teeth against Villarreal, knowing that they have that huge crucial game in midweek, 3 days later. So that is the way I could see it, but it will depend. If Real Madrid happens to come in low form after the holiday break, which we have seen with teams happen before in general, and suddenly everybody else starts catching up, or we go on a spell where instead of wins we get 3-4 draws, and suddenly everything just gets murky at best. Real Madrid will have to do what they did in this series of 5-6 games we just had, where we had to go out there and it was kill or be killed, regardless of the team that we were playing against.
Yeah, we also have to consider this. We might be playing the second leg we might be playing the Copa del Rey quarterfinals in early February. So we have to also consider if we get far in that tournament, it'll go into February, which is it's going to affect our La Liga performance. It's also going to affect our.
But let's not forget though, Villarreal also will have a Champions League game. So it's not like they're not fighting midweek. Also,
I
don't think that Villarreal obviously would have to put as much emphasis in Champions League as the way Real Madrid is, because I think if you're just for the mere fact that Real Madrid are the huge favorites, they have to come in and just make a stand, and they have to say, here I am, and I am ready to take on whoever comes is going to come to the Bernabeu next week.
Yeah, I think that in the game against Villarreal, I think that they're going to put a starting 11 with maybe, let's say, a couple of reserve. Okay, couple. They're going to go for the win. They're going to go into trying to get at halftime to get a lead, try to get a like a 2-0 lead. And if it happens, then they're going to make some major rotations.
Need to start rotating.
Major. If it's tied, Ancelotti might leave them until like the 75th minute and then do the rotations, because I think they have to play it by ear, basically.
Yeah, and Ancelotti is known for usually not making subs too early unless there's injury. So the game would definitely need to be resolved by halftime in order for him to start making subs before the 60th.
Now, the only way that I see that we would have more reserves than normal starters is if we did have to play a quarterfinal in the Copa, and
Correct.
We have the top 11, and you rest them the weekend, you give them a week to prepare for the first leg against PSG, which is the number one priority.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a hostile game. It's going to be a hostile environment. PSG fans are going to be they're going to be booing every single Real Madrid player that's there.
Crowd there. We don't know that. I mean, what's going on with COVID? I mean, Barcelona went to Munich and there were no fans.
Correct.
So I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible there may not be fans. It depends on the situation.
Yeah, and it's a factor that it's a big what if at this moment. I'm considering that life will be better in general. That at that time, that I think a Champions League game of that magnitude deserves a crowd under safe circumstances. And if that's the case, I expect 90-something thousand fans there, ready to roaring for PSG and booing every single Real Madrid player that touches the ball. Because
the game is not 90,000.
Is it? I can't remember. I thought it was a very high number. Regardless, anyway, whatever the number might be, tomato. my point is, I think there's just so much animosity because of and the name associated with this, Mr. Mbappe. Which I mean, he could sign with any team he chooses to as early as in 2 weeks, which he will not, as much as I hear and read, because if he is in fact going to Real Madrid, that is the team of his choice to go. Nothing should be made public because of the hostility that he will encounter from here on out until that Champions League and even further. Can you imagine if Mbappe says, you know what, screw it, I'm going public, I'm signing with Real Madrid early January, and suddenly PSG does to him what they did to what's the guy was it Rabiot? I can't remember exactly. Yeah, they benched him 6 months just a pure spite. Can you imagine that happens, and then Real Madrid happens to knock out PSG, and now PSG fans are all pissed off because you didn't play him, and you could have had a chance with him, but you're just too ticked off at the fact that he didn't want to stay.
Yeah, but why would he sign in January when he can sign free and clear in June?
No, that's what I mean. No, sign for free. Sign a pre-contract in January, saying.
I don't see Mbappe. I don't see him doing that type of an FU to PSG.
To PSG, I don't think so either. Because if not, he would have already made public that he would have signed, and that's what I meant. No, he wouldn't necessarily go on a purchase transfer from PSG to Real Madrid in January. That is not happening. I meant more signing a pre-agreement, saying at the end of the season, I'm going for free. That's what I would see happening. Yeah. I don't think it will happen. If it does, it will be after the series against PSG.
All right, so it'd be possible. Now, second leg, we play in March, 3 days after our birthday, club birthday. Now, the game before that is Real Sociedad in San Sebastián.
Tough stadium. That is Real Sociedad that started like a firecracker, and I feel like it's starting to get deflated a little bit. It happened to them last year too.
Yeah, it did.
And I think this is part of what Real Sociedad's path typically is. They either start really strong and just deflate, or they start really low and then they finish strong, but not enough to make enough noise to, for the first place. And
right.
They are a tale of 2 seasons within one, so obviously 2 legs. And I think that if they started strong, I think they might be more battling for that Europa League spots at the time, which means they'll still be fighting, but I don't see them being direct rivals for us for La Liga. But Sociedad playing in their stadium, it's hard. San Sebastián is not an easy venue.
Yeah, it's just I'm pointing this out so that people understand how difficult it is to win 2 tournaments in the same season, because you have these games in La Liga that are against formidable teams of their own standing, but you have opponents that that is a knockout. You lose, you're out.
Yeah.
So the decision has to be made at certain positions and the timing, and it's just there's so much that goes into it. It's a lot of fans I talk to, they think it's just play the same 11 that you play on Saturday and play Tuesday night. Oh, okay, right. You want to go tell that to the guys? Good luck telling them that. They're not going to perform the same exact way they did on Saturday that they did on Tuesday night.
No, and it is a strong. There's an old saying that in Spanish it goes "equipo que gana no se toca." So team that wins you don't touch, you don't move, you don't make adjustments. But you have to. I get it that sometimes you do have to go in with the same one, but the tactic cannot be the same. And you got to consider that there's people who could be nicked up. There's people who need a rest, and then there's others. Not everybody's 21 years old. We're just fortunate that Luka Modric at 36 is playing like one.
Yeah, we just have to get to 100%. This is exactly why the 6-point lead we have in La Liga at the moment is so crucial, because how many times, Cesar, have we seen in seasons past recently where we go into January and we're tied or trailing, and we're playing catch up into the second half of the season. In this situation, we're at the top with a padded lead at the moment, okay, and we have some cushion. Now, I don't know how January is going to go because we have Copa obligation on top of La Liga. We have to see how that shakes out, obviously. But it's very critical. I think that Madrid at 100% in the spring, and they're still in Champions League, they definitely, like you said, team to beat.
They are going to be they're going to be the ones that everybody wants to go after. And I think this is what Real Madrid gets for being who Real Madrid can be. And this year, we're not the hunter. This year, we're the hunted. because we're the one at top of the Liga right now, and everybody wants to catch us up. And Champions League is going to be the same. Everybody wants the biggest, because if you take that one down, just a morale booster for your team is huge. So, and also, like you mentioned, in many years, put it in, let's not go too far. Last year, Atletico Madrid went into the winter break with, I think they had like over 10 points in a cushion, and they literally were within 10 minutes in the last game to potentially lose the championship. That just goes to show you how much even some cushion may or may not be enough to win the Liga.
They only won the league by 2 points last season. So, yeah, we have to keep that in mind, obviously. So, I mean, that's a lot of factors to play into it. But again, we got PSG in February, March, and then we'll see
Bring it on.
Yeah. So now Friday. So that was the Monday draw. And then last Friday, we had the Copa del Rey draw. Now we got Alcoyano, which is a team we played last season, and in their stadium, and we got bounced in the round of 32.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very strange to get booted out so early. And I get that this team this year, although very similar faces, we're playing in completely different, but that with no insult to Alcoyano, Real Madrid needs to know that they're the superior team, the team with more legacy, and the team with the humongous salary, and they cannot take this and take them for and just basically look down on Alcoyano, because for many of these players in Alcoyano, this could be the biggest game they ever played in their lives. They are coming out with everything they got, knowing they got nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing. And if you look down on teams that are this modest, they will kick you out one and another one and another one. They will do it again. And Real Madrid should know this and go in respecting Alcoyano a lot, knowing that the field is not going to be a prime field the way they get at the Bernabeu. There's the conditions are different. It's January, could be raining, could be just flat out just cold or snowing. You never know what you're getting at that time of the year in Spain. So it will be a game that Real Madrid needs to come in and show that they learned something from last year.
Yeah, the lineup, I don't remember person per person. I don't remember now, but it was a Frankenstein lineup that we put up. Okay, it was I would say it was disrespectful of the opponent we're playing. I mean, number one, that 11 we put out there never played in a game together ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you expect them to win a game? I mean, forget who the other team is. This is a thing that I kind of, discuss with friends at the club, is that do you take Copa del Rey seriously at all? And a lot of my friends over in Madrid are like, they just,
it's okay.
Yes. They just don't. Like, I remember Butragueño said in an interview, he said, La fiesta del fútbol español, which is in English, it's the party of Spanish football, basically. When you say it like that, I mean, you're pretty much saying that, well, I mean, we're in the party, we were invited,
But you're not the guest of honor kind of thing.
The guest of honor, like, you can bounce early, like, you just don't care, and,
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing that I mentioned in prior episodes, and I mentioned privately, is that if Madrid put their Champions League mentality to Copa del Rey, they win Copa del Rey every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. If we put our Champions League mentality and that 11 in the Copa del Rey tournament, get to the final every year.
Agreed. But we don't. We always seem to take it as a minor title. Sometimes maybe this is out of line to say or so, but I feel like sometimes the team seems to show that they put as much emphasis to Copa del Rey as they do to any of the, the ICC or any of the other tournaments over summer, that are just friendly. Sometimes I feel that that's the attitude displayed. Well, I may be out of line saying, I don't know.
No. I don't think you are. I think you're spot on. And I cannot believe I'm saying that. It's just, then what is the point of us supporting the team in those games? We support the team no matter what. I'm going to make that very clear. You and I and our fellow Peñistas, we
absolutely
every day of our lives. It's just that, this is a detail in commitment. Like you said, I love that word, commitment. And there isn't commitment that I saw in last season for Copa del Rey. Okay, I just didn't see it, and so we have to see what Ancelotti does with this game. Now, this game is scheduled for the 5th of January at 9:30 at night local time. Now, Alcoyano complained to the federation saying, why are you putting this game the night before Dia de los Reyes Magos, Three Kings Day?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so here you go. Another organization foul up. Okay.
At least they didn't put it at 11 o'clock at night, right when the Reyes Magos are about to come in right at halftime.
Oh, you know what? I think it would have been a great spectacle, right? At halftime, and they have the three kings trotting out there with their frankincense. And
so, like, if you and I ran a TV company, we would have had so many shows already. Just little sketches here and there.
They would have shown up in midfield and been like, where is he? Where? That would be an incredible halftime show. An incredible halftime show.
Forget about the Super Bowl.
Hey, we're in the Super Bowl over here, man. I'm pointing that way, which is south, because the Sophie Stadium is going to have it.
It's gonna be a party and a half. LA was due for one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that shakes out. I mean, if we have an all LA Super Bowl, no one outside the region is going to watch it.
I don't. You know what? I could see the Chargers making noise to get there, but I don't know. I haven't seen the Rams quite out there yet.
Get to the Chargers from Copa del Rey.
This is what happens when you're live.
Awesome. This is awesome. I love it. Anyway, Alcoyano, so we play them. You have a prediction for the game?
I think Real Madrid will show that they did learn from last year's mistakes. Although a different team, different coach, different everything. I see Real Madrid advancing. It's a game that's happening 3 days after we resume La Liga from playing Getafe. So we're coming from, again, not a long layover between this Wednesday and the second and then the fifth. I think Real Madrid will come out with a very honest team. And I mean honest as in the ones that really should be playing, not just throwing a couple players here and there and see what they do. And they will need to show that they have to take this competition a lot more seriously. And I think that they should handle business. Wouldn't necessarily tell you a scoreline that I would suggest, but I would expect Real Madrid to win at least by 2 goals.
That's fair. I say they win 3-1. I say they win.
Something along those lines.
No, I follow what you're saying. I say 3-1. I think that Alcoyano, gol de honor, fair enough. They got gol de honor. The fear that I have in these games, is when a lower division team plays a first division team, those teams play at a different competitive level. I'm talking about their level of physicality, because the fouls that they commit in the second and third division are harsher than you'll see in the first division. I'm not kidding.
Oh, I agree 100%. And they play different football. They play different games. The pitch style or the way it is different. It's you're not, you don't have those cozy seats where you recline back and they got seat warmers. No, you're going in and you're sitting on a bleacher sometimes, almost feels like. And there is and teams that typically might be of a lower tier, or perhaps their technicalities are much less or not as strong as a team like Real Madrid's and whatnot, and the skill of their players and whatnot, they tend to bring big teams down to play at that level because they kind of let the other one do their thing and then they push back. And that's what I've seen. So typically teams that are more modest in their approach tend to bring the skill level within that game to their level rather than them having to max out to the top tier team.
Right. And they play in a smaller field. So, in this situation, the team from the first division with international talent, and they need to utilize intelligence more than physicality. They need to figure out, how do we break the Rubik's Cube? I mean, it's you don't want to get into a mucking game. You don't want to get into a slug fest.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that because you're risking injury to your top players. You have bigger goals down the road, which we already discussed. So I can understand the club's position and I wouldn't say their fear, but their hesitance to put players in that position, but again, you expect our players to understand that they know they're going into that situation, so they have to prepare accordingly.
Not only that, and they also have to, one thing, you're talking about a Real Madrid player. You're talking a player that even if he plays 1 or 2 games a season only, you're at that club because you earned it. Nobody gave you that spot. Nobody gave you that locker room in the Bernabeu. You earned it. You go in, and if those are the only 60 or 30 or 90 minutes you'll play all season, you go and you earn that paycheck that one day, because that is when it's going to matter. You're a Real Madrid player. Lots is expected of you.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, we'll see how that goes. Yesterday, we played Cádiz at home, La Liga, match number 18, I want to say.
18.
Yeah, 0-0. Thoughts on a goalless draw?
Exactly what I expected. I was shocked that we had 80-something%. I thought they were going to be maybe in the low 70%. I expected Cádiz. Cádiz executed the game that they always play. Cádiz is a team that they managed to remain in the top flight last season into this one. This is the way they play. They know that they have no business attacking Real Madrid other than a couple counters. They came, their strategy was on point. I give this to Cádiz and the players that remain so in line to what they were expected to do. Every time I see a small team go out and try to play toe-to-toe with Real Madrid, they might actually fight with them for 45 minutes, but they don't have enough skill. Sometimes they just don't have enough stamina to keep up with Real Madrid on 90 minutes like that. So what do? They go in and they park the bus and they hope that they have one miracle play, which Negredo almost did. And it scared the heck out of me, because I almost feel that play was almost as clear of a goal chance as the shot that Pajarito shot, and with beautiful shot, by the way. But Real Madrid just dominated. We had 30-something shots, and only 5 or 6 really on target. But Real Madrid literally threw everything they had at him. But it's hard to score when you got to go through 10 defenders and then a goalie.
Yeah. The positive, I'll state first. What Ancelotti said in the press conference, I thought was very spot on. He said that, the team put out their best effort. Compromiso, he used the word, right? They were all over this team the whole game. They tried everything they could. And you saw it. If those that watched the game, they saw that there were not only crosses from the sides, there were shots in front of the box. There were 1-2 give and goes into the box. There was intricate passing, not only horizontally, but also vertically in a couple of counterattacks when we had opportunity. When it broke out, when Cádiz was out of their box, we actually tried to jump them a couple of times. We tried a vertical aerial pass, which almost hit a couple of times where we were able to get a shot off. It was unfortunate because there was either an offside or we mishandled when the ball dropped. Correct. Okay. So the different ways that we attack them is very encouraging, because I remember in the past when we were 0-0 against the team and we were just crossing it. We
were one-dimensional.
It was just nothing. It was nothing different about it. It was just static. It was, we're going to cross it in and hope we get a header. This one was not that way. This one was, we're trying to go in diagonally. We're trying to go in this way. We're trying to catch them on a shot outside the box. It was many different things. Okay. And the team hustled the last, 15, 20. They did hustle.
Were on it.
They were trying. They really were. I mean, you play against a team that's 10-0-0. I mean, what do you expect? You got to go through 10 yellow shirts. I mean, it's just, it doesn't happen every single week, but you said it first. Cádiz, they came in with that game plan to get a point, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I would like to point out to everyone out there that when Madrid would do this type of tactic, when we had Jose Mourinho as a manager and you were hitting us for playing anti-football, I would like to see where you guys are in attacking Cádiz and playing this way. You are absolutely silent. Not saying, not saying you're actually giving them praise for how they stood up to Madrid but no, back in the day, you were hammering Madrid for doing that.
Yep. And you know what? Those are quiet now. Those people tend to be quiet these days, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You know what? Look, we got a point out of the game. All right. We didn't drop all 3 points. We did not. We got a point out of it. So we're 6 points ahead. And the Sevilla Atletico game that happened in Sanchez Pizjuan. Okay, Sevilla won that game. Fair enough. But I'm willing to bet they go back to Madrid in the second half of the season, and Atletico wins that game, and they split the season series.
And I'm okay with that. You know what?
I'm fine with
This
that.
is almost as good as like, oh, they both lost because they did. There was not one of them that took advantage over the other. And Real Madrid, as long as Real Madrid is taking care of business with them, both at home and away, as it's happened, then we are in good shape because we're taking that. We're stretching that lead, and we have to.
Yeah.
We have to keep just building that cushion.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now we have Atleti Bilbao Wednesday, the last game of the 2021, in San Mamés.
Another really tough game. We just played them a couple weeks ago, and it was a very, very tough game. And I don't expect anything different this time.
That was a postponed game, by the way.
The one for was a postponed, and this one is actually a game that's ahead. This is actually, I believe,
this one is scheduled. Yes.
Yeah, I believe this is week 21 or week 22 that got moved ahead, and I think it has to do with Copa del Rey actually.
The Super Copa.
There you go. Exactly. I knew it had to do with something, but it got moved up from week 21 or week 22, something like that.
Yeah. So this game, San Mamés, that's a tough venue to play in.
It is, and the thing is that they have a damn good team. They have committed players, and I gotta give it to them. We got lucky in some plays where Iñaki Williams should have killed us, and he didn't. I think he had 2 to 3 of those and Iñaki Williams is a heck of a forward that's demonstrating that Bilbao is starting to become too small of a team for him, where I can see him in a bigger club, but I believe he loves Bilbao the way Iago Aspas loves Celta and will rather stay there. And that's okay. But Iñaki Williams is a heck of a forward.
That's fine. That's fine. Let him stay there. We need the stars in La Liga.
Absolutely.
That's fine. I mean, I am a little surprised too that he's still there, because I would imagine a bigger club coming in to throw him the big money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, him being there, I give him kudos to that for sure. This game, this is after the tie we just endured on Sunday. I mean, the team has to erase it from their head, and they got 2 days to prepare for this one, and it's a road game. I mean, this is a very difficult La Liga fixture.
A game we're playing without Casemiro too. So let's not forget that.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. The announcer and media after the fact were making a big deal about his yellow card when he slid tackle in the midfield. And they're like complaining that it wasn't a red and that he's been doing this for too long. I saw, I don't remember that play, but I saw that the Cádiz player, he beat 2 of our defenders going through. He's about to do a counterattack, about to break through the midfield. And Casemiro comes in, he slide tackles him and stops the counterattack. That's a yellow card by book.
Yeah, I didn't see it as a malicious play with intent to injure anyone, or much less. That I would have seen as a straight red card. It wasn't. Casemiro wasn't the last player. I don't see, and it wasn't that he made direct contact where like he smashed him with and the shin with his cleats or anything like that. It's like it was a physical play and it was a yellow card, but I think it was very well called.
Yeah, I thought I didn't think anything of it, to be honest with you. I saw the foul, I saw the yellow, and I said, well, you know what? My immediate reaction was he stopped the counterattack. Mm-hmm. I mean, that counterattack, there was a forward on the left side. We were pushed up in that moment. You have to stop the ball. Stop the ball. I mean, I remember so many games where we have a hard time getting back. And that time he did. He had to make the tackle.
He did what he had to, and it worked. And I think that Casemiro, the way he's playing this season is Casemiro has been an amazing defender for the greater part of his career. But I think this year he has elevated his game even more. His defensive midfielder abilities and skills, I feel like they're just taking 2 huge steps forward. And he reminds me of just great defensive midfielders from back in the 90s. And they were just tough. They were like hard to get through, and they were just always there. The way he slides tackles reminds me a little bit of the way Maldini used to slide tackle in left back. Just all out.
I'll give you another Italian, Gattuso.
Yeah. Those guys are just tough to get through, and you hate seeing in front of you to have to get by.
No, exactly. And Casemiro, an academy player. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, he came from through the ranks. and he earned that spot. And he is performing a specific task and has a responsibility in that midfield, and he executes it very well, almost on a per game basis. I mean, he does. Okay, if he was sloppy, if he was not timing it correctly, if he was a malicious guy in his head, he'd be getting red carded every other game. I mean, it wouldn't even be a judgment call. He'd be gone. And we've seen how many players lose their heads over a foul and they just go bonkers, and they do it at the wrong time. I mean, it happened recently. I forgot what it was. Real Sociedad played Villarreal, okay, in Anoeta. The captain made a boneheaded foul by the end line. He got red carded immediately, and his team suffered and lost 3-1 to Villarreal, who has a hard time scoring to begin with.
He's got the show.
Yeah, so he's the captain, and he gets red carded, and the team is 10, and Villarreal win the game 3-1, and Sociedad's chances of competing for a title go even further down the pipe. It's just, the point being is that Casemiro is a guy that, he is physical at times, but he knows situations, when to intervene, when to do the tactical foul, when, that is,
and he does it with a cool head. I feel like that's the key factor, because there's players who are physical but then get hot-headed and then they just run their mouth afterwards and get booted out.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we'll see. Now, prediction for this game?
I think we take it 2-1. It's going to be tough. Perhaps a nail biter at the end. But it's going to cost us a lot more than the first game. I think Real Madrid needs to be prepared for their counters, and more than anything else, knowing that Iñaki Williams and their entire attack are going to come in. Iker Muniain is a heck of a player still, and you can never take him for granted. These guys can literally solve a game and solve a play within one flick of a ball. Yeah,
I agree with your prediction. I would go with that as well. I just think that Bilbao is going to get a goal either by a corner kick or a free kick or some sort of a stop play. They're going to get a goal that way. They have a hard time scoring. And for us, I mean, Benzema, we have to see how he's progressing, because he came out, and we also have to, see how the team is gonna, form that midfield without Casemiro. They're going to put Valverde in there, or we've seen Camavinga come in for Casemiro, which surprises me.
I feel like Camavinga is too much of a forwards midfielder or attacking midfielder compared to the role that Casemiro's been playing. But you never know. I mean, it's we gotta see the kid and see exactly what he does. He's a heck of a gem that we will continue polishing, and he'll be leading that midfield alongside Fede Valverde for years to come. Their number will be called with their starters game in and game out. Today, take it one game at a time, kid.
We'll all leave it to Don Carleto, obviously, but I mean, if it's Valverde coming in, starting, that would not surprise me in the very least.
It wouldn't have surprised me. That's why they pulled him out of the game. Also, give him a little fresh legs now, and he's got to come in and play probably a heck of a game coming up on Wednesday. It makes sense, because it surprised me that substitution.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. And the last topic before we close this is there was a draw today of the Women's Champions League quarterfinals. And we will have the first Clásico, Real Madrid-Barcelona in the Women's Champions League.
Ooh, that sounds like an exquisite match to watch, just for the history of the two clubs. And because Real Madrid Femenino, it's a relatively new concept. They're a new team. I've been following the team. I'm very familiar with their players. I know that Barcelona perhaps has had the upper hand, and the team that as an organization has been there longer, and the women's team. But these games, I feel like regardless, you go in and you play out of pure pride, because you know what the crest on your chest means. It will be interesting to see what happens. I hope that more people start tuning into the women's league, both La Liga and Champions League. And hey, we got our first Clásico. Let's see how this one goes, and let's hope the girls can get it done. Yeah, I mean, separate from the men's, because in the men's we have their number. I mean, all over the place in Europe. We do, and domestically. But in the women's side, Barcelona has had their program for 30 years.
And this program we have has only begun 2019, I want to say.
Yeah, we had CD Tacon the first year, like when it was first announced, but it was still not fully transitioned, and so this is technically our second season as Real Madrid Femenino.
Yeah, exactly.
Second season. We are a new entity. We're still developing who we are. We have the they know that they are Real Madrid and they know what we stand for as an organization. That now it's time for them to really start earning their history.
Right. And pointing the fact, another reason why the Super League needs to happen, because we will be able to see the women's teams more frequently and easier to find these games.
Yeah, today the only way I can catch them is gotta catch them on Twitch, Real Madrid TV here and there when they show the games, and it's you have to look for them in order to be able to catch them.
In this day and age, 2021, about to be 2022, it should not be taking more than 10 seconds to find a Real Madrid Barcelona women's game. Please.
And you know what? I think the other thing that needs to start happening is they need to start getting more primetime games, not playing at 10 a.m. Madrid time, where any of us it's going to be 2-3 a.m. for us to have to watch. However, if you start putting more primetime games, you start mixing them in. It's okay to do that. I mean, the TV channel should have plenty of resources to broadcast all games, especially in this day and age when broadcasting sub channels, even if it's just online, it's not that hard to do.
Yeah, it's just that, last year, the final between Barcelona and Chelsea, how could you watch in the US? It wasn't televised anywhere.
No.
Okay, the Super League happens. They create a streaming service for themselves, and they're able to show the men's games and the women's games. You're able to go to the app, you'll find the game live or watch it on replay, and there's no problem whatsoever. And you get more promotion.
It will be a simple business. Business, yet very efficient.
Yes. So another reason, the Super League. Got to happen. 2022 needs to happen. I wish I could
bring it on. I am ready. I am so ready. People feel like I'm just banging the same old drum, but it's a drum that's going to win it.
Drum. It hasn't been hit yet.
My point exactly.
What old drum? They're the ones beating the old drum since 1956.
Yeah, just what I mean is like when I'm talking, it's like, oh, you're still talking about Super League is not happening. I'm like, you keep thinking that because nobody's really necessarily it's not being broadcasted in the media the way it was over summer. I was like, that was just the tip of the iceberg. The bomb needed to go off to see who was going to oppose it. And now that you know who your opposition is, you can strategize and get past it.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's no way those 15 clubs are going to let $6 billion go by the wayside because of some whiny fans getting together in front of a stadium to protest something they don't own.
Now, I feel like the way the Super Liga is happening and we'll take over, it's like playing a game of Risk, where you just got to build up your little army and start taking over little by little until you win it all.
Are you sure not Connect 4?
No, I like Risk better. It has more historical factors.
On that note, Cesar, hey man, I had to tell you, man, thank you so much for being on this with me in this episode. It's just great to chat with you about Real Madrid, about these hot topics about, European soccer. And I'm so happy that you're doing well. Your family's doing well. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you have one message to say to our audience, fire away.
Just one simple message. Be happy, be well, enjoy this holiday season. It's a special time for you and everybody around you. Enjoy it, enjoy your family, enjoy your kiddos, give them a big hug, big kiss, big hug, and everybody in your family. It's been hard times, but we're moving through little by little. Stay positive and enjoy it.
And you want to drop your social media, the Peña, yours? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and you can follow us, and for Peña Madridista San Francisco, it's at Madridistas SF, plural, Madridistas SF, same hashtag, and you can also follow us at RM Extra. That's just a channel with all Real Madrid, based in Spanish only, but we'll be happy to have you there as an audience as well. Always talking Real Madrid, always supporting the team, and always happy to hear from Chris every time he chimes in to us, gives us some great comments, and then puts me and Nacho just at arms against one another.
I noticed. Yeah. Thank you. Hey, by the way, thank you very much for the compliment. I mean, I tune in and I like to just send a note out there, just, because you guys are, you're exercising this passion we have, and you're doing it in front of a great audience. And shout out to Nacho and Peña, Providence, and Rhode Island. I mean, they're a fantastic bunch, and Nacho's doing a phenomenal job over there. And RM Extra, it's one of the programs I watch. I don't watch
And
TV.
we're growing. We're growing little by little. We're sharing a little bit of this passion we have.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what this goes, but 2021 will be in the books, and 2022 on the horizon, and we look for great things coming up. So everybody, good night.